Episode 133.
Woohoo!
It's Suzilla.
It is Suzilla. We're running on a slightly later schedule this morning than normal, but that's okay. It's spring break. We're allowed.
Yep.
Yep.
It's Suzie.
Yes, and it's Matt.
We're here at Suzie Health Solutions, Wenatchee Insurance, located at 413 North Mission Street.
Here in Wenatchee, Washington. Hence the term Wenatchee Insurance.
Yes. Kind of weird that way.
It is, isn't it? That's one thing we really like is it's like, well, we can't exactly pick up and move to Portland with a name like Wenatchee Insurance.
Yeah, you can.
Well, you can, but it'd be strange.
Well, that brings us to today's topic.
Does it? Because I have no idea what our topic is today.
We're going to talk about different and the workplace.
Different and at the workplace or different in the workplace?
Different and the workplace.
Okay.
Because last night we did our Supernova business
extravaganza. We had our last lesson about what's called the triple bottom line.
And it
was interesting.
It is interesting. And it's something that our office does really well.
Yeah. And we did it kind of instinctually.
Yeah, and I had one of the other fellow competitors say that everyone in our office is on the same page.
We really are. It's kind of a nifty thing.
And at the same time, we're all incredibly different.
We are. There's absolutely true. And we've said this many, many times. Mm-hmm. Matt and I kind of fit together like puzzle pieces. He fills one section, I fill the other section, and we mesh together and fill the space. Well, now we've got Shayla in the mix, and she's just kind of fitting in there too.
Yeah, and it's because of our difference. It's not necessarily fitting in.
Well, no, it's not because but we complement each other.
Well,
I guess
we acknowledge each other's uniqueness.
Yes, and with respect. And
we have an end goal in mind.
Uh-huh.
And it's not necessarily an immediate goal.
No, we've got a long-term, medium-term, long-term, and we're all on the same page about that goal.
And one of the phrases I have that I use is I talk about the 50-year customer.
Yeah. Explain that to our audience.
The 50-year customer is a mindset where I don't care about the immediate sale. Because, face it, we're in sales.
Yeah.
Strictly, we are commission-based.
We're sales folk.
I don't care about that sale now. I care about that customer for the next 50 years.
It seems to me that is, I think the first time I was aware of that was with automobile sales. It used to be, I don't know if it's still true anymore. Mm-hmm. You'd have a new car salesman, and they'd sell, John a car or Jane a car. And then about every 2 years, John or Jane would come back and swap it out. And that is that 50-year customer feel.
Yeah. And
it was a consistent, and I don't think that's normally the case anymore in automotive sales.
Well, I don't know. It's a good example of it is with auto sales is if you sell your personal limit.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely...
It burns the relationship and they won't come back.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And it's that concept of doing that instant sale, buyer beware marketplace.
Now, in the event, you've got John who's bought 4 cars from you over the years, and you've got this brand new model that you think that everyone is saying this is awesome, and you sell it to John. Uh-huh. And it turns out that if you tap the back bumper in just the right place, it explodes. It gets recalled. Because you have the relationship with John, you have the chance to make that right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're not, the average, first time or second time.
Oh, no. But if you're actually selling somebody a piece of garbage the first time, you're never going to really create that relationship.
Yeah.
But if you have a relationship in place, you can fix things.
You can.
Not always, but
you
can. You have you may have the opportunity to make it right.
And in the same regards, you'll run into different quirks, and you'll acknowledge, okay, yeah, this is like, yeah, Joe Bob Briggs, he likes himself a pickup truck.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna wheel up and show him the nice electric sedan.
No, you're not going to. You're going to show him what he wants. Mm-hmm. And that's where in the insurance industry, because we know who you are, maybe not the first time, but we get to know you. That first meeting, we figure out, with property insurance, Matt and Shayla will figure out what your needs are and tailor accordingly. Right?
Well, it's the first step of every good transaction, or every good entry point, is you kind of go on a fact-finding mission. Even with returning customers. Hey, has your address changed?
Any
Have
updates?
You got a new phone number?
Yeah, any updates we need to make?
Any updates? In the health insurance world is, hey, any new prescriptions?
Yeah. Any new additions to the family?
Hey, are you planning on that, finally getting that knee surgery? Then on the property side, it's like, hey, you got a new car. Awesome. Hey, did you build a new she shed out back?
Did you put in a swimming pool?
There are questions you ask to find out. And then there's questions that we ask that people are like, well, why ask whether or not I'm an accountant? Well, because some companies provide discounts.
Mm-hmm. For the weirdest things.
It's apparently weird things to some, on others it's not.
Right. Yes, you can get a discount in some insurance companies for your property insurance if you're an accountant.
Yeah.
Or a nurse. Or a
military discounts.
Military discounts are very popular. USAA built its entire model on the military discount.
No. Okay.
Oh, I learned something new today.
Originally, when it was designed, it was an insurance company that promoted its product to service members.
Right, and then their immediate families.
And they added the immediate families.
Oh.
It became more of a marketing play.
Well, if you think about it, a lot of the service people don't automatically go into the service like they did back in the 40s and 50s.
40s, you kind of had something going on.
Well, there was that. And then you had the spouses and kids, but it's becoming a lot more dilute than it was initially. So it's harder to, actual service people are less common than they used to be. They're there.
We went through 20 years of war. It's
that's beside the point.
And we're in a rural community, so it's easier.
Oh,
to
yeah,
find
absolutely around here.
Service members.
Oh, yeah. It all hinges on where you live.
And there was something that was very important that came across when we were talking about that triple bypass and contributing back to the community, and that is when you're doing cause marketing.
Okay.
And USAA sort of leans into that with you're here for the service member, and we do these programs that are aligned with that value. Well, like breast cancer, that's a very cause marketing one. We saw the pink ribbons in the strangest of places.
So we're talking like the pink washing,
the
rainbow washing. All that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
Where a company throws in with a cause to make themselves look good.
Well, no, they don't necessarily throw in with a cause.
They brand up with a cause.
They brand with a cause. So it's kind of a really thin veneer.
Okay.
You might see them at one event per year.
Okay. Like your pink Coca-Cola, for example.
Pink Coca-Cola is a good example. We see it at Pride events.
Yeah.
You start to look around, and it's just like, why is this one outfit on every single nonprofit in the area? contributing? Well, these are very important questions. They can't be on every single cause. They're using it as marketing.
Oh yeah.
And that's where it's like you as a consumer ask those questions to find out if they're really there with you, or are they just provided a smoke and mirror show.
Yeah. Well, and then that's one thing you really got to look at, and you look at the triple bottom line, which is this company actually supporting whatever the heck they're talking about, or are they contributing in a real cursory veneer manner, or are they actually seriously supporting this charity or this organization or this cause? Are they donating time and money, or are they just painting their labels pink for a month?
Well, a really good example of that is looking at their leadership structure.
There you go.
Do all their leaders look the same?
Is there any diversity?
Is there any diversity? Is there, any veterans on there? Because veterans come in all sizes, shapes, and colors.
That's correct.
I love us because we're that big melting pot.
That is absolutely true. The most diverse is a very diverse group. Very diverse group.
Well, the other diverse crop in there is the LGBTQ.
That's absolutely true.
Because they come in all shapes, sizes, forms, and supports, and
you can't just look at someone and go,
you just can't look. It's like, oh yeah, you like the opera.
You must be an opera fan.
And there's that weird notion of having those differences and sameness, but there's also that same desire to fit in.
Yes.
And the only time that you'll get that fitting in is when you're all on that, we want this long-term goal. We want the success for the community. We want the success for the customer.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then it becomes a little bit of a smoothing out of Fred, cooking fish in the microwave. You can kind of ignore that little aspect.
I don't know. Cooking fish in the microwave is pretty hard to ignore.
I am known to heat up fish in the microwave.
Well, yes. It's disgusting.
I like my food warm.
Well, okay. If you're going to, you just don't, that's not something you normally do at the office, because if you can do it at home, because we all like, I already cooked the fish yesterday. The house already smelled like fish. You do it at the office. People have a tendency to go blah. But it is just the three of us in the office most of the time.
Yeah, there's we do those little different things. It's like I'll put hot sauce on things.
Yes, you love your hot sauce. I don't so much. Yeah. Matt is very big. He likes the vinegary hot sauces. He likes his Tabasco. I'm not a big vinegar person.
Yeah, I picked up that taste from MREs.
Oh yeah,
in the service.
You had to.
Well, you didn't have to. It's sometimes that was the only thing to get taste into those things.
Yeah, and they're designed to be very neutral.
Yeah, but there was they got a wonderful contract with the Army in my time frame, and it came in the MREs. There was always a big red bottle on the table.
Yep. And the MREs have those awesome teeny weeny little single serving bottles.
Which is a different flavor.
Is it?
It is. They're more intense than the big bottles.
That makes sense.
It's like a little snake versus a big snake.
Like it.
But that's the difference. You wouldn't know that just looking at it, because it's got the same label.
Yeah.
But it's got a different intensity.
Intense. So here's a question for you. Is that true just of the MRE styles, or if I were to get a small bottle of Tabasco at the grocery store, is it the same intensity at a big bottle at the grocery store?
No, the same. The grocery store bottles are pretty much the same.
They're just different sizes.
Yeah,
it's that specific use.
I think it's that specific use of the MRs. I knew you can get the little tiny ones. I have not tried to order those individually. I don't know if that was just a special run, because companies are known to do specialized things for different companies.
That's absolutely true. When we are at Soup, I want to say Triel Gordon. is who we want to talk to about that.
Okay.
She always has, I think it's her that has the hot sauce in her purse all the time.
Yeah, but it's like I
She
don't
carries
know.
a little teeny MRI.
I've
I've seen them. I have seen them.
But yeah,
come out of her purse.
That's a little oddity that most people don't realize. It's like I want to say they've gone and are more in the Tapatio now. There's a Tapatio.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. A Tapatio variant.
Yeah, and for instance, Shayla, who was raised south of here, she when she does hot sauce, is more on the Tapatio version.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which is, it's weird because we're here in Washington State. We're
very Tapatio forward in this area.
Yeah. However, it depends on what groups you move in.
That's true. Me, I like weirdly enough, I like a green sauce sometimes. If I want a salsa, I like a green sauce sometimes. Of course, it depends on what I'm eating. But this is a totally left turn for what we're discussing.
Well, no, because food is one of those important bonding aspects.
That's true. But it's okay but you got to respect other people's food choices. I'm not going to judge you because you like Tabasco versus Tapatio. I might judge you if you like, Frank's or something. I don't know. Well,
you've jumped on some of my food. It's like I am a chunky peanut butter guy.
You are a chunky peanut butter guy. I'm not going to judge you about I'm not going to judge you about your salsa, but I might judge you about your peanut butter. I'm not judging you about your peanut butter. I make sure you have chunky peanut butter as frequently as possible. But there's a thing about peanut butter. But
that's at the same time, you're acknowledging my difference.
Yeah.
You're respecting it and saying, hey, yeah, it's important that you have chunky peanut butter so often. Yeah. The workplace is the same reason.
Yeah.
You gotta have some of those little differences. You don't want everyone to be the same. You want to be on the same page.
Right. But you don't want the same person.
You don't want the same person because they'll come at it at a different angle.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And, why Shayla and I work well with property is I like to look for what's should be.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like when I look at look into the forest and see a deer.
Okay.
I can spot the differences, the things that aren't supposed to be there.
Okay.
Where she's looking and she might just see the forest.
Uh-huh.
We both arrive at it's a beautiful thing, but it's different viewpoints and different
right. She might see the different types of trees, whereas you might see the different types of animals.
Yeah, and it takes those different perspectives to come across and create something wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's we were talking about Numi.
Yeah.
And their use of product to make their drinks. When you're using different agriculture, when it's sourced from different areas, it's got different tastes.
True.
So unless you're going to the market every morning, picking finding what's special and what's peak ripeness, mm-hmm. and using that in a very short time frame, you're going to always have variance.
True.
And to do a long, successful, hey, I want this ocean breeze to taste the same 12 months of the year.
Mm-hmm. You need to have
the same price.
Consistent products, consistent ingredients.
It's got to be that vision to get to that end goal.
Yep.
Some people will stress, with their workplace, you got to have proper attire.
Yes.
And we're saying this. I'm sitting here wearing a hoodie and jeans, and we look, casual, like we're ready to go to a ball game.
Yeah.
And some people like look at that and say, well, how can you do insurance that way?
Mm-hmm.
And the genius of us doing insurance this way is that we can have normal conversations.
Uh-huh. It's a very inclusive style, the way we present ourselves. I mean, we kind of started out originally with the button-down shirts and the khakis, and slowly we ooged away from it because we realized, we weren't necessarily comfortable when we were dressed that way.
Well, it's also the client perspective as well.
Exactly. But the client needs that's where the inclusivity comes in. If you are a jeans and t-shirt kind of guy and you walk into a suit and tie office, you don't feel like you're with your people.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you've been called to the principal's office.
Yeah. It's not the principal, it's the vice principal.
The vice principal's office. Either way, you've been called on the carpet,
mm-hmm.
and it's not comfortable. And you might answer questions differently. You might not be honest with yourself or with them about your needs. Whereas if you're feeling comfortable, it's like, hey, this guy's just like me,
mm-hmm.
or this gal's just like me, or she's going to listen to me, or he's going to respond he won't be judgmental, because that's sometimes how you feel if you're in that. I
need to tell them what they want to hear.
Yes, and no one wins when you do that. Nobody wins when you do that, because you're lying to you. When you're telling somebody what they want to hear, the whole relationship starts with a lie.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to move things forward. In the insurance world, if you start things out with a lie, it goes sideways.
It does. It absolutely does, because it'll catch up to you, and surprisingly fast.
You'll have policies come back. It's like, well, you needed this pool fenced. It's like, well, guy told me it was fenced, and it's like, well, here's the pictures from 3,000 feet.
Yep. There's ways.
There are ways to confirm, and those confirmations are coming fast and furious.
Yeah, and especially with property, because with satellite imagery and Google Maps, it's not that hard to figure out what's going on in your backyard these days.
Oh yeah, even the whole the famed one we have is the I didn't know I thought that speeding ticket didn't count. And it's like, no, there's records of you driving forever. If you go and do a CDL, it's I want to say it's like 10 years. They won't necessarily count for insurance purposes, but they're there.
Yeah, not that. Was last year I got a speeding ticket. Straight up, just got it. I was wrong. I knew it. Pulled over. The officer was very friendly to me, and a fat white woman in a car, in a nice car. So I got off lightly, but yeah, there's a speeding ticket on my record now. It doesn't ding against insurance, but it's there.
And it doesn't ding because of insurance, because the officer, there are laws in place that they do kind of like a plea agreement.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. I want to say it's very forward of it was Nevada.
It was Nevada.
Of them doing it that's friendly to tourists.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, tourists are usually going to get the speeding tickets.
Yeah.
It allows them to minimize the fight in the commercial. It acknowledges, like, okay, yeah, you messed up.
Well, it didn't hurt.
It's going to cost you some money.
And it didn't hurt that I acknowledged immediately what I'd done wrong. I didn't lead him on a merry chase.
Well, yeah, we were in the middle of nowhere where there was, sagebrush and UFOs. We weren't gonna, there was nowhere to run.
Well, yeah, but I also didn't make him come up behind me and stop me.
Oh no, he turned around and got you.
I was like, shoot, okay, that's for me. I got to pull over. I pulled over before he was done with his U-turn.
Yeah, because you knew.
I was wrong. I knew I was wrong.
And
that's the first ticket I've gotten I got one when I was like 18. So what? 40 years.
Something like
Something
that.
like that. But I acknowledge it. But I also own it. And it's like, okay, someone says, if you had any moving, yes, I had a ticket in 2021.
Oh no, because it's not. It's a civil penalty.
Yeah.
So,
So
technically, you do not.
I don't have points on my license because of it. Which, but still being honest about the situation gives your agent something to work with.
Yeah, because
there's no surprises.
There are no surprises. I've done some, I've done this long enough that I've come across and seen all sorts of wildness.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I've done properties and found impromptu living conditions of really not that good of situations.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want. It's like, no, this is not insurable because of the conditions.
Yeah.
If everything was built up to code, we're talking something different. But you could tell it was not built up to code.
Yeah.
You had wiring all hoofangled and
extension cords plugging into the street lamp kind of thing.
Not quite that bad, but yeah, it was the worst one I saw was a barn built out to look like at least 4 different living conditions, and they had like attached a manufactured home on the side.
Oh my. So it's very cobbled together.
It was really, it was one of those ones. It's like driving out into the middle of Eastern Washington and doing this is weird. We gotta go.
Expected Leatherface to come barreling out with his chainsaw.
On a good day.
On a good day.
On a good day. It was one of those weird things. I've done so many different inspections. It's kind of humorous at this point, and I know that the insurance companies are getting back to doing more inspections because we're in what's called a hard insurance market.
We are. It's been the hardest than it's been in the last 40 years. Yeah,
and so the initial insurance companies, there is a pushback. That's sometimes they won't extend coverages out.
Yeah.
Or they'll increase prices. JD Powers in the third quarter of last year, the shopping rate was about 12%.
So people are likely shopping more this year.
Yeah, they're gonna continue to shop more because the hard times usually last a couple of years.
Yeah, we'll have a couple of tough years.
Inflation is really driving it.
Yeah, it really is.
We had to, after the first couple quotes came across our door, and we're like looking at the estimations for the property and seeing them they were severely undervalued.
Oh, interesting.
We had to put in place procedures to do an estimate for rebuilding it.
Yeah. Well, like a good example is the $10,000 replacement policy for the electric car.
Yeah. And what happens if you get into that with homes and buildings?
Yeah.
They'll start paying percentages.
Ooh. So if
you're undervalued.
If it's burned down, you'll get like 40% of its value.
Yeah.
Ooh. You can't rebuild on that. Particularly
if you get a kitchen fire. It's a good example.
Oh yeah.
And it's damaged, and they'll pay a percentage of what it takes to repair it.
Ooh.
And it gets really ugly.
And that's after your deductible.
And that's after the deductible. Yep. So yeah, you start to see these short-term sales hacks to get the sale, to get that commission check for that one time. And they're not looking like, oh, well, if it burns down, they're messed up.
See, that's where you've got somebody who's thinking short-term instead of long-term. Instead of the 50-year client, they're thinking, okay, I want this commission now, and they're going to go shop, so I don't care if they I don't care if they come back to me or not. That is not the way to build a business.
Yeah, and it's not a way to maintain the business
No.
because what happens is they go down this path of shorting the premium,
Yep.
and pretty soon they have to have that conversation. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, your home estimate is $75,000 less than it should be.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to get coverage in the event of an accident.
So you get this. You have to have this radical adjustment.
Oh.
In commercial policies, they'll underestimate what the receipts are, the gross receipts.
Oh yeah, there you go.
And at the end of the year, for a lot of these policies, the insurance companies will come back and say, okay, what are the gross receipts? And they'll reconcile to get to that actual risk.
And you'll end up with a changed rate at the very least.
Well, no.
Oh, they'll do like the.
I saw this a lot in the surplus lines when I was writing cannabis.
Uh-huh.
Someone would come in and say, oh yeah, we're only going to do 100,000 in sales.
But they did $1 million.
And they do $1 million, and the insurance company will say, oh, well, hey, yes, we're gonna upcharge you for this next rate to get you more accurate. And by the way, you owe us $5,000 for last year because you shorted us.
There you go. So it's like when you're buying health insurance and you underestimate your income and can take more advanced premium tax credits. They reconcile at the end of the year.
Yeah,
same idea.
It's the same idea. It's why the whole truthful and the acknowledgement is really, really stinking important.
Yeah,
it's important to be different in the office.
Mm.
Don't build something that sucks.
No, that's a very clear and true statement. And
Yep.
we live by that around here.
We live by that, and we have a lot of fun by that. It brings character into your office. It means that, yeah, there's going to be some plants. There's going to be some pictures.
Actually, our plants are out of view of the client.
Yeah,
we got a couple of succulents hanging out.
Yeah, we got.
I don't have windows in my office, so it's hard to grow a plant. But
they're by the big window. I've got moss behind me.
There you go.
And
there's Shayla. So it is time for us to wind it up.
Yep. So hey, have a good day.
Yep.
If you're putting on that uniform, saying, God, it sucks to fit in, it's like, well, go find someplace different to be you.
And if you have to put on the uniform because you haven't found that other place, put on some funky socks.
Yep.
Have a great day.
All right.
Bye.